So no, I just wanted to bring this movie to Philly, like I said before. I never had the chance to see it in the theater yet, so for the most part, I just wanted to watch it in the theater with some cool people. Other than that, if anybody had any questions and just just anything about the process, about maybe the casting, the acting, the studio, whatever, I'm willing to talk to the people and just kick it with y'all. Moog got a question. Is it gonna be a part two? Wow. Okay, so there's a story behind that. Initially, me and my partner, my writing partner Curtis, wrote the movie, and it was a one-off because I had a three-picture deal with Flavor Unit, and this was one of the movies that satisfied that deal. But when we cast Larenz, Larenz read the script and loved it and said, we have to end it and build it in a way that they'll want another one. Because again, it's a business. You want to keep working, right? So we went back into the lab and rewrote the last 5 minutes so that the audience would beg for more. That's why we set it up the way where it's like, oh, now what? And then, so yeah, so I hope there's a part two, but you never know. You never know, yeah. Beloved in the back, right here, Bill. Oh, well, it hit Netflix April 1st. Yep, so it's been out for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, I think it's mainstream, man. Word tell is I think it had close to 10 million views so far on Netflix. But you gotta realize Netflix, thanks a lot. So Netflix is the biggest platform on the planet right now. They have more subscriptions and they're in more territories than even HBO, Showtime, and all the big boys. So they're the big boys on the block. So it's an honor to be at Netflix over there, Yeah. So Robin right here, yeah.
I just want to say that all the characters I can see are relatable to everybody. So
Yeah.
everybody can relate to maybe the female part,
Mm-hmm.
a guy can relate to the cop part, a
Mm-hmm.
guy can relate to the street hustler part.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it catches you, it draws you in, because it's like, you feel like I can relate to how everybody feels.
Yeah, I started writing that way on my first movie, Money, Power, Respect. I remember I saw this movie called Crash. Remember Crash? And what grabbed my interest on Crash was there was no one main character. It depended upon who the person was watching it, who the main character was for that person. So I was like, I want to adapt that writing style for myself, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
It definitely works. That's why everybody loves it. Anybody that says, did you see Deuces, they like, I love it. Because somebody can connect to every
Yeah.
person they see
Yeah.
on the screen.
That definitely was done by design. Although Larenz is supposed to be the lead, and he's the title's named after his character and everything, but Lance is just as much of a lead character as he is. And I remember when we were designing the story, we said we want to dabble into just the idea of duality, that the rights aren't always right and the wrongs aren't always wrong. There's a lot of times people live in that gray area, and that's the interesting part of life, the gray area. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. In the back. Thank you. Appreciate it. This was the first time I shot a movie in LA. So when we went out there to tackle this movie, it was a big deal because I didn't really, I knew the story, but I didn't know the terrain. If you know any of my movies, you know that everything I do is in Philly. Everything is in Philly. So when I got out there, I made sure that, for one, Latifah and her team, they gave me everything I needed. So that was great. But I still had to go out there and do the work, So LA was a monster, and we only had 20 days to shoot this movie, but then they took a day away from me. So it ended up being 19 days, but I think we got the most out of those 19 days. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. We're gonna do more questions, but I wanted to say that afterwards we can all meet in the lounge downstairs, and there's food and drinks. I'm sure everybody already ate and stuff like that, but nonetheless, they've extended the lounge to us afterwards if you want to powwow and do things like that. But so any more questions? Anybody have anything else? Young lady right here. Yeah. The casting process? Yeah, sure. I'm gonna give you a little insight about how it really all started. So this movie was supposed to be a movie called Tony's Story for Meek Mill, and it was supposed to be set in Philly, and we were all gearing up for that. But what happened was Meek got locked up in that big thing he went through, and Flavor Unit still owned the property. So they were like, we can't wait 18 months for Meek to come out. So is there a way you can convert this to a different city, maybe LA since we're already here, and just reconstruct it so we can still do the movie? So I was like, sure. So we went back to the lab and we constructed it for LA. And I was like, who screams Los Angeles like Meek does for Philly? Like, who can be the champion for that city? And the first thing that popped in my mind was Old Dog. You know, we haven't seen Dog in a while. We seen Larenz. The last time I really seen Larenz in the format that I wanted him to be in was Dead Presidents. Yeah, when he played Anthony in Dead Presidents. So I was like, what I want to do for him this time is play with the idea of duality. Give him Love Jones with Old Dog on the other side. And we tried to merge the two characters to make one complete person. And so we started with Larenz. I didn't even know I was gonna get Larenz. It was just a wish list. And I said, who will be the best love interest? So I said, Meagan Good. And when I told Latifah that, she was like, oh, we're gonna make that happen. So Larenz read the script. It started with him. Once he read the script, we couldn't get Meagan because Meagan was doing a Steven Spielberg project called Minority Report for ABC. And what happened was, it didn't really work out. Meagan, I think they did like a pilot episode for that and 2 more or something to that degree. But anyway, her and Larenz been wanting to work together forever. Because, you know, Larenz is baby Denzel. He worked with Halle Berry and Vivica Fox and just, you know, everybody. So he convinced her to jump on board. And once he convinced her, she convinced Lance Gross to get on board. And then it all just went. So the casting director just got paid. She didn't even have to do anything. Yeah, so Larenz, shout out to Larenz. He kind of like kickstarted the whole thing. Yeah, because everybody they didn't even care about the money. They just wanted to work with Larenz. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. All right, so you work with more money,
Sure.
better sound,
Yeah.
and then the music. Can you talk about your music choices and
Yep.
the freedom that you have?
Sure. If you know my movies, they're all heavily musically orientated. I was brought up around music since birth, and if you know me, I like music more than movies. I know that's kind of like weird to say, but I actually like music better than movies, but I just think I do this better than music. But yeah, no, once you're given a little bit more scratch, you know, you can really spread your wings. And I wanted the music to have a classical feel. That's why the score, you know, the musical score, it's not like Brotherly Love. Brotherly Love was like a more teenage, more youthful. This was a more mature movie. So I took that same approach. So I said, all right, well, if we're gonna make a mature movie, we gotta have mature music. So I made sure that the character, Jason/Reese, listened to older music. That's why you'll hear Strawberry Letter 22. You'll hear Tower of Power and all those classic type songs, because I wanted to make sure that the movie had a soul to it. As far as the other question, what was the other thing? You said music and what else?
And then there's some original music in it too. Where did you find the tracks?
Oh, that's a good question. So once we finished the movie, my producers asked me to, you know, lace the music with the music, I think. So I put temp tracks in there. Temporary tracks, rather. Temp tracks are the music you put into a movie while you're editing, so everybody can understand how the pace of the movie goes. So a lot of the music on there we couldn't afford because I had Prince. I had a lot of stuff in there that was hugely expensive. So my music supervisor, who is great because they work with Scorsese as well, and they had a catalog of independent producers, and I had a few guys too I knew that I want to give an opportunity to. So it was a good opportunity to have a great music supervisor because she had the catalog. And it was deep, so I can just go in. If there was a Prince song, I might not be able to give his estate, you know, $80,000, but I can give a young up and coming who has the same feel $10,000, and you know, it worked out. So yeah, it was good working with a real music supervisor for a change instead of just me, you know, going through my database of the music that I like and trying to work it out. So yeah, like you said, more money, more opportunity to work with really good people. Yeah, gentlemen.
This is my second time seeing it.
Okay,
and
great.
The second go around, definitely 2 thumbs up. The first
Thank
time,
you.
2 thumbs up. The
Thank
second
you.
time, definitely.
Thank
what
you.
was the name of the song with the ending credits?
That's everybody. Everybody.
That's
Everybody wants to know that. That song is called Pillow Talk. No. But it does sound like Miguel though. Yeah, I forget. It's an independent artist out of I think Maryland.
Okay.
And I'm sure his IG or whatever account he has is blowing up because everybody asked the same questions. If you noticed, I used the song twice for double impact. It's the same song that Meagan and Larenz make love to, and then I bring it back at the end as a callback. Yeah, yeah. This young lady right here. How you doing? Thank you.
What advice would you give to someone as myself who already, I'm an author, so I already have 3 books on Amazon.
Nice. Congrats, by the way. Yeah.
I just finished a 10-episode TV series.
Wow.
Nakia Dillard.
Oh, I know Nakia. Good friend of mine. Good man.
Anytime something comes up, he always refer me. So he said, "You know Jamal?" I said, "Yes, I know Jamal." He said, "Well, he has something. So every time you have something, I try to make it."
Oh, well, appreciate the love. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone as myself who has a movie done and I'm ready to shop or get everything in format to pack it up so I can, you know, get it out there?
Well, the first thing is, where do you want it at? Like, where's your end game? Like, what did you, when you made it, when I first started making movies, the biggest mistake I had was I didn't know where I wanted to do with them before I did it. I just wanted a movie. And I got a movie, but then it was like the universe was like, well, I gave you what you want. You didn't ask the full question, like what to do with it when it's done. Like, because I'm sure people put their hard-earned money into it. They put time and sacrifice. So it starts with you. Where do you want it at in a perfect world?
I say this all the time, and the kids tell me to stop saying it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to write this up. And he said, "Can you have to stop saying it?" He said, "You want to put your name on the producer, executive producer, you want to do those things." And even when he sit down and talk to me, because I wrote a book called Married to Malicious,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to turn it into a web series, and I was like, I don't want none of my stuff to be a web series.
No, but not
He
the.
said to me, he said,
That's the
"I'm
future.
stopping right there."
Yeah.
He said, "Are you going to listen to me,
Yeah.
or we going to stop this conversation?"
Right.
So I actually did turn Married to Malicious into a web series.
That's a good thing because that's where it's going.
Right.
But again, where do you want it at? Where do you want your show at? Your movie at? Where
In the movie theater.
in the theaters? Well, then that's you got to figure out. AMC, they do independent 5-city, 10-city releases. So AMC is a good place for that. To be honest with you, it's like obviously this movie could have definitely been in the theater. You agree? So when you have a movie like this with Larenz, Tate, Queen Latifah behind it, Meagan Good's co-starring, it's like that's to scream to you something. The industry is changing. It's not about the big megaplexes anymore. People love the circumference of their home. They've already spent money for cable, Netflix. They got the Fire Stick on the low. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, like, it takes a lot for people to come outside and go to the movie theater. So the platform for this is changing drastically. It's really about feeding the machine. And the machine is being fed through digital formats such as Netflix, Amazon. You don't even, in your contract nowadays, they don't even add DVD, Blu-ray release anymore because it's a thing of the past. Only people that get that are like the big Disney kid movies and stuff like that because parents will buy that for their kids just to have on the shelf. But people don't typically buy movies like that no more. They're consuming them so fast that it's just changing tide, you know. And you have to consider that as a business person like yourself and not throwing the ball where the person's at. You got to throw it where they're going, you know, so it can land. Yeah. Yeah. So this young lady right here, yeah.
Now I know that you touched on already.
Mhm.
But again, I want to ask, like, as far as casting goes, I've seen all your movies, and I know you get like a lot of I see a lot of local, like Philly
Absolutely.
actors
Yeah.
doing cameos and stuff. So
Mhm.
like, is there a certain company or a person or like place you do casting, like casting calls?
Yeah, I used to do it by myself, but again, the company's grown, so the avenue to take is typically figure out. There's a thing called the breakdowns. Once my movie is purchased and is real and it's going through the studio system, the casting director, once she's hired, she releases all the information on what's called the breakdowns. It's a website, so take that down. It's called the breakdowns, and it'll tell you every movie that's in production and every casting director who's doing open calls. And if you don't have it's good because typically professionals have agents and managers, but everybody doesn't have an agent and a manager, so you have the same access to the breakdowns as the agents and the managers. So what you do as an aspiring actress, you're on the breakdowns, you see Deuces, you see whatever other movies in production, and you figure out when the casting calls are. That's how it's typically done, okay? Yeah. Mike, yeah.
So, we've been watching your trajectory,
Yeah.
and then, so when we last talked, you said Brotherly Love was a big jump from that, like having
Yeah.
real resources to
Yeah.
put a movie together and so on. So now you have that same experience going into this one.
Mm-hmm.
What were the challenges? And then now that this is out, are you still creating work, initializing work, or are people bringing offers?
All right, that's like 5 questions, Mike, all right? I'm gonna answer the one I can remember. You said, you said the jump from going from Brotherly Love to this. What was the jump? The jump was going into a movie. The biggest person on Brotherly Love was Keke Palmer. And even she still is, trying to make her way in Hollywood. The biggest thing was, I remember this, man. I remember waking up on the day that I had the meeting with Larenz, because he's the only person I ever really wanted to work with. I mean, granted, you got Will, you got Denzel, but Larenz is my generation. I was like, Inkwell, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Those are my favorite pictures. So once I got the green light that he was interested, it was like, man, I remember I was driving to the meeting, and the closer I got to the studio at Sony to meet him and Meagan, I was getting nervous, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta pump myself up. I don't want to be stuttering and stuff, because I'm a fan too, right? So I remember I put my Best of Prince on, and I was riding through Mulholland Drive, because we lived in Woodland Hills, and we had to take the Pacific Coast Highway. So I'm on the Pacific Coast Highway listening to Prince, and by the time I get to Sony, I'm a rock star in my mind. You know what I'm saying? So I'm charged, I'm geeked, and once we sat and met and had a real dialogue, it was the first time that I talked to an actor who is as I guess goofy about movies and stuff as I am. So it was like a real genuine conversation. I was like, wow, we're about to make a real movie, bro. So by the time we were supposed to be like a 10-minute meeting, we sat and talked for like 2 hours. And I was like, wow, I felt like I crossed a plane, you went from college to NBA in my mind, it felt like. So that was the biggest thing, really knowing that, okay, I'm about to make a real motion picture, finally.
So I'll just follow. So taking that energy, being the rock star, how do you take that now to LA with a real crew and other people that also have egos?
That's funny. The word ego is the main thing, because it's a good and a bad thing. A lot of times it starts from you know what you're doing, and a lot of times the other movies, people were just getting their legs like I was. So it's just a confidence. That's all it really is. It's a confidence that you finally can say, no, man, I make movies. I'm not trying to make movies anymore. I'm making movies. And that's when I felt like I was really doing it, Yeah. This young lady back in the back, yeah.
I'd like to know how you and Larenz felt personally after you had that 2-hour talk.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, to a degree.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's a funny story, but I gotta answer that. Yeah.
And when I say something, they'll say, yeah, he really does.
Yeah.
So how did you two kind of connect with that kind of scenario that happened to you when you were younger?
Yeah, so he's the consummate professional. So Larenz is the consummate professional. So he asked me, what was the inception of the character? Like, where did I get the character from? And I had to be like, all right, dude, me. And that's all he needed. He was like, okay, so this is you? So for the next month, he would study me. He would watch me talk to the the producers and everybody else and just watch and take notes. And I never really understood what he was doing, but he was just trying to get, that's all he needed was the direction where the character came from. Once I said it was me, he said, all right, the haircut, the clothes, let's go there, you know.
Did you cut most of the people's?
No. Well, when you're doing a movie like this, and if you know, that's my mom, y'all, so that's why she's asking these questions like this. So, no, what happens is this.
Because the hair is so slick and you cut hair, so I'm like, did he cut everybody?
No, I didn't. Well, she knows that I did for all my other movies. I did catering, I cooked the food, my wife did this. You know, everybody pitched in to do something. So no, this is the first movie. Well, no, Brotherly Love, I didn't do it either. But as of Brotherly Love, I didn't have to do that anymore. I had the budget, so I hired the person I thought could handle the hair, the person I think can handle the clothes, the person I think can handle the production design and the editing and so on and so forth. So the only thing I had to do on this movie, once the script was done, to be honest with you, was just talk and hang on set with the actors and made sure they got it every time they went out to do their job. Because most of a movie is made during pre-production. You don't like show up to make a movie, you show up to do what you practiced, you know, so, yeah. Brother right here.
What's another character you could see yourself having Larenz play in your next film?
Oh, yeah, I got a movie called Starstruck that we're trying to do through the Overbrook Sony production company, and I want him to play his character named Roman Kennedy. Roman's like he's like your Puff Daddy, so I want to see him play a arrogant CEO of a music company, not in the fashion of Lucius Lyon, but just the real cool person, like not trying to be, like you really got it, like someone who's really got it. So that's his name is Roman Kennedy. That's what we're trying to do now. So it should be cool. This young lady here.
When it came to writing the script,
Yeah.
what was the hardest part, and how did you work through it?
The hardest part is always having 13 or 14 characters in your mind at the same time. Usually when I write, I'm in my basement, and it's an exercise in futility, man. You're down there, you have to write for like 13 people, and you got to be the people, because you got to find out what they're trying to express and what do they want. It usually starts with, okay, I want to tell a story about 8 people. Let's go back to Brotherly Love, for instance. There was 3 main characters, Jackie, June, and Sergio. And you have to ask, all right, who are these people and what do they want? And once you understand what they want, that's the first question. Then the second question you have to ask yourself is, why do they want it? Which probably is even more important than what they want, is why they want it. And then once you ask yourself why they want it, you got to ask yourself, what happens if they don't get it? Because now it's conflict and stakes involved. And then the fourth question would be, what is it? It's, what does the character want? Why do they want it? What happens if they don't get it? Oh, and what's in the way? Like, what's the roadblock? Think pursuit of happiness, right? Will wanted money to take care of his family and his son and just, be a man. But there was so many things in between that and getting it, and that makes the movie, the conflict. So that's the process, typically. Yep. His brother with the orange shirt on here. What's up, Kenny? Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I just want to know, how long, from completion to start the movie to April 1st came out? Was it any speed bumps?
Good question, bro. Good question. That's the question that's been. Oof. All right. So what happened was this. This movie was slated for a Lionsgate release to theater. But what happened was Flavor Unit had 2 movies at the same time. That's the production company. And they had a movie called Perfect Match with Cassie and Terrence J. You remember that movie, guys? Anybody? Some people remember, some people don't. Well, they got a theatrical release and it kind of bombed. And this was supposed to follow that up. This, matter of fact, this was supposed to be first and then that. But they switched the order. They said, let's put the Terrence movie out first. And once the Terrence movie bombed, Lionsgate was like, we don't want to hemorrhage any more money. So they had to go to the second plan and give it a Netflix release. But funny thing how God works. They say when you think something is happening to you, it's happening for you. This movie, you don't have to, get your kids dressed and, spend a ton of money. It's on your TV. It's right in front of you. So everybody, you don't have to spend the money. It's on your TV. I say that to say that we had way more eyes on this movie than we'd ever got, hoping and promoting that people go to the theater to see it. Because again, it's the circumference of your living room. It's on. So for me, maybe not from Flavor Unit from a monetary standpoint, but for me, in my career, this was in over 80 million homes. And all you had to do was push a button. So it worked out excellent for me. Yeah. Yep. So, que sera, sera. Anybody else any more questions? Anything else? I want a beer, so I'm about to go downstairs and get a beer. But again, thanks everybody for coming out. This was great. Good seeing you guys. Hopefully they'll let me make more movies to bring to you. And yeah.
What's next, man?
So what's next? I said, I think the big thing right now for me, because this is where my brain is at, is Starstruck. Starstruck is a peek inside of Hollywood from a rags to riches, back to rags story, more or less. So I won't say a whole bunch about it, but it's I guess it's my version of Dreamgirls, for guys opposed to females. And I have another pilot TV show we're trying to build right now with Netflix. It's called COP, City of Philadelphia. That's the acronym for COP. So it's about the first Black district attorney of Philadelphia, female. And it started with Jill Scott. So we're trying to see if that's still the direction we want to go with it. Right now, me and her management are really trying to work things out. But for some reason, Jada just jumped in, and she's trying to see if this is something that she may want to do. So it's getting a little weird right now. So we'll see if that happens in the next few months or so. So it's called COP. More or less, it's like Law and Order meets The Wire here in Philadelphia. Yeah.
You shot something with me.
Say it again.
You did something with me.
I did. I was called upon by BET to shoot a TV show called On Tour with ... And what On Tour it's basically like your Mayweather 24/7, but instead of for a boxing arena, it's for concerts. So the first one we did was On Tour with Meek Mill. The second one, they want to do On Tour with Lil Uzi. The third one was On Tour with Nicki Minaj, and so on and so forth. So it's supposed to be a series, depending upon how well the Meek one does. We'll see if they'll extend more episodes. So we finished the Meek one already. It's coming out in June. So look forward to that. Yeah, on BET. On BET, yes. Yeah. So super cool, super different. You know what I mean? So hopefully it catches. Other than that, I'm gonna go get a beer. So I'll be downstairs, man. Thanks for coming out, guys. All right.